Wouldn't cut
I hate to see it come.
I lived 8 years in Minnesota.
Oh, boy.
There's 2 seasons, winter and winter's coming.
I just, the interesting thing is going to be,
I saw 40 below with 100 below wind chill for 2 days.
Penny Price.
Wow.
1982, January.
The excuse for it. Not just.
Brutal.
Man.
I sent them an email, sent them a whole bunch of them.
I couldn't stand it.
Don't be more than
You know gasoline freezes at 40 below.
So
It
find
does?
something.
Yes, it does.
Why?
In the tank. I'm not talking about the lines, in the tank.
Wow.
I lived outside of Watertown, right in the Lake Effect snow belt. I used to shovel off the roof of my car. So.
I went to school in Potsdam.
There you go.
When it was 30 below, walking to
Back in
school.
the day, downhill both ways.
I never went to school. I could go to school in August or September and it wasn't snowing. And I could come home in May and it wasn't snowing. But every other trip, Thanksgiving, Christmas, winter break, Easter, every one of them, it was that blinding snow that you're driving in. It's just
Oh, yeah.
coming at you.
My first job was up in I was working for the pine department in Watertown, and I lived in Sackett's Harbor out on the lake. And I drove back one time and I couldn't see the hood of my car. It was snowing so hard. And I was following another guy who had a 4x4, but I didn't. And I just drove by the field of the road where the ruts were.
And the sun just never, I mean, it never melted. I can remember walking to school, walking to the campus, you know, and the snow was like up to your waist, and you were just walking through the sidewalks, because there was nowhere for it to go. But I don't remember, it was a different climate here in the valley. It was dry. It just didn't seem biting.
That was the thing about Minnesota, guys. It is sunny. It's here to snow from December to January into February. So it's sunny most of the time. It's just super bitter. Oh my goodness. it's all the way to snow.
That's some clear history buff. Delta Lake reservoirs up in Rome. It's one of the reservoirs where they flooded the town of Delta. It's so low now, it's been about 50 years. The old Erie Canal wall popped up underneath the lake, so you can see the old foundations and stuff.
So they could leave at 7:30, 7:35. That's all I'm There's still a little bit there. I'm cleaning up.
Yes, this has come about like the first time.
I gave all
It's so
the
full.
food away.
They were actually out there doing like fish out of little puddles that were there, throwing them back into the big part of the lake because there were so many fish on the street weeks ago. So they
And I
didn't
had
wait
one
on
all
such
filled with processed chocolate, and I had 4 pieces left. Joey Garris and a lot of them picked up the dishes, and we polished it off. But they were fun with this.
Can you say the second
Oh yeah, it's damn simple.
This might be a way. Turn my dog to turn. That's how it is. They got flooded.
Yep.
We're here on time.
Cemeteries.
Well, we're really late.
There's no way to know if the body's been seen. It's just like this be really. Aren't you tired of coming?
No, 1 minute, just Joe, happy to be here. Wearing green.
I noticed. Tell me the origin of picking green.
How did that happen?
And why did you pick green?
We had a meeting about 2 years ago, and I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 of us, and tried to, think about how we can support Locust Hill and
Team effort.
and it came up, and we started. Well, you know what? Sometimes, like in the town hall meetings, there would have been 70 or 80 people at early meetings, and you don't know who's there for what.
Oh, so if you wore red, we would know you were opposed.
No. It was just that we oddly picked green.
Oh, I see.
And we saw it as environmentally friendly too.
I think that's excellent.
Pro-environment, pro-affordable
Are
housing.
you going to set up a meeting?
I always thought it was because Kenny was Irish, that's what I was.
There you go. There you go. Irish. But that's why green.
Site visit?
That could
Take out
take
to.
Nice to see you.
Have until,
The next meeting,
I know. Well, we might have time. That's how we go. No. It does. Why? Did you get invited? Yeah. For what? No, they don't.
well, we don't.
No, it just doesn't. And I really, they come. I don't know why you're putting everything in my pocketbook here. I don't know, but I did. And they come. And then. No, I think it's.
Did you get an agenda, Stephen?
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we're all having.
2 weeks, it's the whole week.
yeah.
So for some reason.
Good conversation I had.
I haven't been invited to that.
I was trying, I like found them the other day, and I was like, oh, that was like a couple years ago. And years, and somebody wants to sit in there. Okay. I figured I could change,
You want to have
just in case.
for a moment. And I.
Huh? Probably tucked away somewhere back there.
So they were here on Halloween, they had a table, we all had a good time. And so anyway, so. The whole.
Benjamin Ferry is just coming back. Send them on.
What about me? I'm trying to come. What is this past weekend?
I mean, any building,
Yeah, my son.
but.
No, that's perfect. It's like out in
Or just like anyway, what I thought, if we if they well, that's why I just
my son's in school. Between now and spring break.
Thank you so much.
We're up at 5.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about.
Yeah. Kind of edgy. I used to go,
That's what I'm saying. I'm just sitting over here talking about business. I don't know what he's talking about.
you'll get all hang out with Sean's mother's class. Sean, you know what happened to Sean? I'm sure about that. Oh, who did you hang with?
What's the difference between things that change?
Okay, I mean, I'll take extra, why not?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, November 17, 2025 Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board meeting. We have a quorum, and I know no changes to the agenda, correct? You received Jim's meeting notes. Anyone have any questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept them. Motion, second? Second. All those in favor? Opposed, abstention, motion carries. You have in draft form the November 3rd minutes. Does anyone have any comments, edits, corrections? Motion then to accept?
Motion.
I have a motion, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Is there any correspondence and announcements that need to come before the board? No, just to mention that Gretchen is working on a schedule for next year, and we'll be looking at that at the first meeting in December. Just a last minute check with Joan and others about town business as well. All right, so we can begin this evening with old business. And that is the workforce housing, Radcliffe Road, site planning and permit affordable housing units.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. You? Just a quick update. We did submit some materials around the 5th to address the last remaining comments that we received from Christian Haji. And then as of today, we have confirmation from the DOT that all of their comments have been addressed. And the plans are actually at the health department for signature, so that means that all of their comments have been addressed. What am I missing? We also have a letter dated today from the village that their comments have been addressed. And then, as we mentioned in the, we put in the resolution, we commented on the resolution that the Army Corps permit is active based on the time frame that's passed since our application was submitted. So that's all I have for now.
All right. Kim, is there anything you'd like to state to start us off here?
Sure. So as at the last meeting, we had discussed that we were working on a resolution. We have worked on that resolution. We circulated it to the planning board for review. We circulated also to the applicant, as we had mentioned, and they provided some comments back. We've reviewed those are mostly clarifying comments, so we've incorporated those. We've incorporated some of the planning board comments that we received on email that we reviewed. And draft resolution has been posted on the website. This morning we did receive some comment from Mr. Montalbano with a little bit, some additional clarifying information, just kind of clarifying the property owner's name, and just a few little clerical details, and we've incorporated those as well. I believe we sent you a red line. So if you have a chance, it did come in a little bit before the meeting, but the red line just kind of shows where those changes have been. And I know Mr. Martano might have a comment. I can address. I don't know if this is about the access easement, but I can.
You can address that as well.
Okay.
My whole point is, and thank both John and Kim. They've been working to get us copies, and we've been incorporating comments. They've been incorporated. I just am looking right now at the resolution that I guess is before you, so I haven't really had a chance to look at it. What I think is a great idea is if we can go through it as you're considering it, just to make sure that we've satisfied, like for example, they asked for a stormwater easement, we submitted that. They asked that they previously said that we should get an agreement with the village regarding the water and sewer. That's been in place since September of '24, so we sent the agreement in as well. Just want to make sure that this resolution now indicates that we have complied with a lot of the things that are already in it. Just wanted to go through it. So, and then on the access easement, I think Kim wants to address that.
So one of the conditions that had been talked about was right where the road out to the property leads to Astor Drive. It crosses two parcels, which is where Wells Manor Lane is located, and both of those parcels are currently owned by the village of Rhinebeck. I don't know that. I don't think we'll, I guess I can tell.
You want me to try?
That's like, I don't think it's going to be great. I just didn't have, I didn't have a good aim. So this is the road, and this is the property line right here. And then this is Wells Manor Lane, this is Astor Drive. And these two parcels right here are currently owned by the village of Rhinebeck. So one of the conditions that we had included in the resolution was that there had to be some sort of access easement from the village of Rhinebeck to this subject property line to allow them to have that exit onto Astor Drive. We received some title documents today from the applicant, and I reviewed them. And the applicant's property does actually have two right-of-ways addressing both of those parcels. So they do have access, ingress and egress from Astor Drive off of this section right here. So I believe that we have satisfied the access easement. We don't need to have that as a condition if the board agrees.
Right. Thank you. And also, as I said, we do have the agreement, have had it since September of 2024 with the village for water and sewer, and I sent a copy of that agreement. So I know it says we shall get it, but we do already have it. So I don't know whether we want to modify it or just say you actually, you actually have complied with the condition. However we want to handle it, it's fine by me.
Personally, I I would say that we can keep that, and then we can just verify that we have those documents. I'm sure we do, but just, that way we're just not rushing through it.
Absolutely, and the same thing with the stormwater easement, we can show that we've submitted that. But I know you want to review it and get back to us, and any changes you need, we can make them right away.
The village is still waiting, am I correct, on the 100-day public comment period with DEC on the expansion of the water district?
Andy, you know that?
I'm not aware of that, but that wasn't, we don't, that's not a condition of being able to be served.
They're, just for clarity, and you can see it in the agreement, we're being treated as an out-of-district user, and we're paying a premium for that. So I don't think they have to do that.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Not a problem. Okay?
Oh, and one more question, regarding the access easement, you had provided a letter from your title company today
Yes.
to me. Is it okay if I provide that for the file?
Absolutely.
That way, just kind of provide that. And if the board agrees, we can just adjust that in the condition, just saying that access is provided by Lyra 1692, page 856, yeah.
Now that we got that one digit corrected, yes.
Yes, yes. Well, it actually, it's the correct digits, because one goes from Village to Northern Dutchess, and then the other one goes Northern Dutchess.
Is the
which one
reservation,
that's
yes,
referenced.
exactly correct.
But
right.
those are also referenced on the site plan map, on those parcels. Both documents were.
Not a problem. And yes, you can, that's fine.
Did you want to go through certain questions?
I think Andy might want to go through a couple with respect to the ACE or DEC, or they... I don't know.
As long as we're clear that the DEC doesn't have jurisdiction and the Army Corps permit is active based on the time that's passed. That's
Yeah, I saw that comment.
Yeah.
I think that is accurate. I looked at your wording, and I looked at that section. And I think the way that we have it is that, I think we did change it to say that that has been demonstrated, and if there's any changes required from the Army Corps, you'll make them.
That's great.
Okay. So you want to read all the conditions or no?
Good evening. What we're discussing is, I'm just trying to cut down maybe some time between, satisfying all the different conditions in the resolution. We believe a lot of them, there's a couple that are still out there. Mr. Paggi need to address his final comments, which Andy has made a submission. But besides that, because our challenge, if you will, is, assuming the board approves the resolution, is then to work with downstairs to ensure that all the conditions have been met. But if we could have, not that I want to go through one by one, but I believe that what I've charged both Andy and Charlie in the last 3 weeks to do is to ensure that we have these. Our other projects, we get approval, then we still have to get Department of Health, we still have to get Army Corps, we still have to get DOT. We have those now. So we're hoping that there's not a lot, or besides Christian, Paggi, I know the stormwater agreement was just given, that has to be reviewed. We have our letter from the village satisfying all, village engineers satisfying all their conditions. So I don't know what the right process would be.
I just went through it with Andy. I think this indicates that we've satisfied.
Okay.
Yes.
It's satisfied on what?
These conditions, when we talk about Department DOT, et cetera, we're prepared to satisfy those.
Okay. So if there's anything more you would need from us while we're all here, I don't know if there's anything more. What is outstanding? Do you
So
see?
the last
You
thing
have
that I
Christian's
need is from
comments?
Christian. just say that our comments have been satisfied.
To review the stormwater.
Review the stormwater.
It's outstanding.
I mean, we were working on the resolution to work with Christian Padi, to work with Jim Levy, the board, and the we also circulated to the building department, and so we've incorporated all of the information that we believe we need.
Okay.
Jim, anything I
And
think is...
and those conditions have to be reviewed again before Melody. Melody has to verify that they're satisfied before she signs the final site plan. So that's what the normal procedure is in Rhinebeck.
The only other change would be the date that we had talked about. On page 6 of 21, we just needed to put in the date of the plans, which is 10/6/25, and August 2025 for the stormwater pollution prevention plan, so we'll just tweak that language.
Yeah, I think there's a few other blank dates that we'll be able to...
They're just some blanks now, we'll put those dates in, it's an easy clarification.
Well, the plans that's at the health department is dated 14th Friday.
Okay. I think
Then we can
those are
fill
mine,
those
and
in
of course,
after.
we can do those, those are ministerial things, we can give you those details, that's not a problem at all. The main thing I think is the stormwater agreement, which again, you've only just recently received, but it's standard. But yeah, I think other than that, the engineering comments, we'll address those, I think, rather quickly, so I think we're prepared to go.
We did have one question that was from a board member. In paragraph 50, it mentions that the rental rates were income-based up to 80% of the town's average median income. Is it the town's, is it the
It's the
county?
county. All the median incomes are county.
County, okay.
Right.
Okay, so we'll just make that change just for clarity too.
Thank
That's in paragraph 50. We'll just make that change.
Now, if I'm recalling, just because I want to make sure we're all on the same page here, there is a section in the resolution that has to do with the establishment of escrow,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
This is C13,
Yeah.
Yes.
town inspection and escrow.
It's C14 on the latest
Oh, sorry.
Version,
I
sorry.
had old version. Never-
version 19, it's C14.
Well, who can reference that? Do you want to just refresh my memory, because I'm looking at C13, it's got to change.
You just want to explain what that,
Yeah, I want to make sure we're all on the same page
Sure,
here, because,
There is an escrow agreement in place now.
no, I understand, but this is for,
so this is for the building
This is for the
inspector.
building inspector.
Yeah.
$20,000, okay?
Yes.
Right, which was increased from the prior one, which was $10,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's unchanged from the version that we sent you last week,
Understood.
except for the number.
Except for the number, right?
Yes, and in the local law 2 of 2006, which is the escrow law, it does allow for, post-construction, post-inspections. It does incorporate those that are incorporated as part of what's covered by the escrow agreement. So this is just saying that if more funds are needed after, due to inspection, because it's going to be a large inspection process, you'll just
well, in the past,
Include.
in the past and in certain circumstances, and Andy would be familiar with this, when Ed did not feel he was qualified to do an inspection, we were allowed through that escrow to hire an outside inspector or engineer. And that's likely what we're doing here because of the workload. And I'm assuming that you would agree that having someone independent that can respond to your needs rather than wait for the part-time building inspector is acceptable to you.
And that is acceptable to us.
And we're all-
We
I
understand
just
the need for it.
Wanted to clarify that we're all on the same page with that, which means, and we have been talking among ourselves as to how we can identify that person as quickly as possible, understanding that you will be in with plans and you will want those plans looked at.
I am so glad that you mentioned that, because obviously time is very critical for us, and we're going to do that. So yes, we understand that you may have to do that because you don't have a lot of these projects in town. It's perfectly acceptable.
Well, we don't, and just for the public's benefit here, as we start adding up the big projects that are pending in town, from hotels to this, there's the possibility of 4 very major construction projects. So we're taking this step because we don't want projects to be slowed down. And so we've started those internal discussions. Obviously, we can't turn to our planning board engineers in this case and request an engineer, so we're gonna have to do a little bit more homework to see what direction we go in. But just wanted to make sure we all understood that that's the step we'll be taking, and that the planning board understands why that's in there.
Understood, thank you.
Okay.
We're good.
Anything else? All right, so then, if you have your questions satisfied, Kim's good, I will turn to my colleagues and ask for their comments. You've had the chance to see draft resolutions and red line changes, and I appreciate all of your responses. You were asked to review it, you did, you got your comments in, so I'll give you an opportunity now for further comment.
Kind of in a similar vein to that, I brought up the issue of how does the town defend against the possibility that this project might get halfway completed and for whatever reason become abandoned or stalled? Is there any kind of surety or assurance that the town can get from the developer that it will be completed within a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah, I know that, Greg, you had asked about having a bond. It's not really applicable because this is a private project. It's not on town, it's not a town project, or it's not on town property. So that's why I didn't include that condition, because that's out of the purview to do.
Understood.
If I could answer that. So this will be right around project 30 using the same type of financing. The way the financing works is our tax credit investor here is TD Bank. TD Bank, working through Raymond James, buys the tax credits. My son and I are the general partners along with New York City Housing Partnership. My son and I are the guarantors. My son and I have to put up a personal guarantee for all of those tax credits in excess of $20 million. So we've done this just 28, 29, 30 times. So everything we have is on the line. We give a construction completion guarantee. We guarantee that the project will be built according to the plans. We give a tax credit delivery guarantee. We guarantee that the project will be delivered the way the plans are. In addition, will be rented at the levels that we represented in our funding application. We also give an operating deficit guarantee for 5 years, saying that the project must be able to pay its bills. If the project doesn't pay its bills for the first 5 years, then we have to do that. And then, so that's our guarantee. I think our guarantee is better than any type of surety, and there is a level of comfort here in regards, as I've mentioned, we wear 3 hats. We're the developer, we're the contractor, and we're the property manager. There's no place to point fingers. We're pointing at ourselves. Thank you.
If there's no other comments?
Well, unless I missed something, I think we're still on we're in a situation where any pedestrian access is going to necessarily be out into the street, either into Rhinebeck Road or Astor Drive. And there's been no further activity as far as establishing a sidewalk, either with the help of the village. So it is what it was at the last meeting.
Except for the pedestrian walkway that was changed internally with the bollards and all of that, leading out to Astor.
But that leads to Astor
Correct.
Drive, and once getting there, you have to walk in the street until you get to the village for almost a quarter of a mile.
I believe you're correct that there are no additional changes.
Okay.
Is this board ready to entertain a motion?
I am.
Okay, Kim, is there anything else you'd like to add at this time?
No, we'll just, like I said, there were just those 2 minor changes to make for paragraph 50 and regarding the access easement that we discussed. If the board decides to adopt the resolution, I would just adopt it with those changes.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. You have before you a proposed draft resolution to approve this application. Is someone willing to make that motion?
So moved.
I have a
I'll
motion.
second it.
I have a second. I will poll the board. Delise?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Craig?
No.
Edna? Aye. Tom?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Thank you all very much. Very much.
I'm sure it's an invitation. You're all welcome to stay. The evening is young, there's so much more to do.
Our chairs is still back. Thank you. Good night.
We wish you all the very best. Hopes and Sue and all the aspirations for this are realized. And there's so many time and that's for it. Thank you for your efforts for it.
Take care. Have a good holiday.
New applications, I am proud to say there are none.
That's weird.
I know that. So we are well past 6:05. Actually, we're not at 7:20, but past 6:05. So let us now move to the public hearing component of this evening's meeting. The first up is that Adam Higdon, 11 Dutchess Terrace, site plan and special use permit, siding and
What did happen though?
oh, there we go, thank you.
Sorry, I'm really short, so it's probably tomorrow the meeting, so it's good.
There you go.
I'm Cassandra Britton, I'm an attorney from
How you doing? My name is Dan Arquette from Technical Builders. We are the general contractor at 11 Dutchess Terrace. So we are seeking approval for a siding replacement as well as a solar array on the garage. Few of you folks have seen the site, so the main scope was a foundation repair and replacement. The foundation currently sits below grade, so in order to properly waterproof and flash that foundation, we need to pull up 3 to 4 feet of the siding. The old siding, or I guess the existing what is there, is not historical to the house. We found remnants of the older historical siding underneath. So in removing that, we're looking to go back to a more traditional exposure. And this is the product and also the color.
Jeff?
Nothing new. The planning side, I think it's still mostly and primarily a discussion of historic preservation and consistency with the
Craig and I did a site visit, and there were some folks there from CAD as well, so Craig, you want to start?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for showing us the site and letting us go inside and look at some of the work that you have going on. And the sense that I get is that it's pretty serious work that you're doing, and it seems to be carried out in a thoughtful and sensitive way. And this house has had a number of interventions over the years, and I think the issue of its historic integrity is not really all that compelling. And again, we're down to really just reviewing the siding, which I think you've made a fine choice. It's similar to what is on the building now, and I don't see anything character defining about that very large exposure that they use. And I think you might have a little bit more opportunity to kind of blend the courses in a little bit better than they did, where there's some really kind of egregiously tapered pieces because of the sort of the imbalance in the house. So I think it's a net positive, and would support them in moving ahead with what they have planned.
I really can't add to that. I mean, it's a very interesting property and very early even for Rhinecliff. And certainly the scale of the building is unchanged. The look of the building from the exterior is virtually unchanged. It's very modest, certainly, in size. And so I think the things they're proposing to do. We took a look, remember we approved changes with this, so we had a good opportunity to see what's happening in the backyard and what's forcing all that moving around there. The work that's going on with that looks of the highest quality, and I didn't see any issues with this application at all.
And then there's also the solar panels that are going on the garage. And I think it's a fine place for that. It doesn't interfere with anything else. There is a cherry tree on the property that the owner is in favor of keeping. They're not going to cut it down to keep it from shading out the...
So solar panels won't be visible from the street.
Yeah.
I didn't see any issues at all.
Right, and then the generator, you're taking the generator out and replacing it with an interior battery backup system. Right. So, yeah, I think that all nets out to positive changes.
Okay. I didn't see anything from the CAB members, but I didn't hear them speak to anything.
Yeah, actually, we met in this room just after that same evening, and we did discuss it, and no one brought up any serious concerns. Ben wasn't at the meeting, but VJ was there, and we told Jeff and George what we had seen. And especially because what it comes down to is really just reviewing the solar panel and the exposure and color of the siding, which conforms with everything that's in the LWRP.
Okay. Planning board members, questions, comments? Did you wish to say something?
No, I'm just here to answer questions and I'm just here to, urge the board to, if there's no issues or questions on the application, to move the application forward for approval, as this is on a tight timeline because the exterior is exposed. So as it gets colder, damage can be done to the interior.
Questions, comments? So the public hearing is still open on this. So if there's nothing else, I think we could move to close the public hearing. So
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Jim, you have a draft approval resolution?
Yes, I do. Draft approval resolution for the board's consideration on the application by Adam Pigden, site plan special use permit in Township Chapter 125 for installation of solar panels on the existing garage and replacement of existing siding on the home at 11 Dutchess Terrace. Reaffirming the action is type 2, for which coordinated environmental quality review is not required. With respect to the application for special use permit, asking the board to find the work and intended use to be consistent with the general standards for special use permits and granting the special use permit. With respect to the application for site plan approval, asking the board to find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125 and approving the application materials inclusive of the plans by Rhinebeck Engineering Design PLLC, last revised September 8, 2025. Authorizing the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above site plans subject to the 3 conditions listed below. And noting that in taking this action, the board would further authorize the planning board secretary to provide the approval resolution to the applicant along with details on next steps required to finalize the process. And reminding everyone that all plan sketches of the materials submitted to the building department for any permits must match those that are approved by the planning board.
Any other motion?
So second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll pull for Craig.
Aye.
Edna? Tom?
Aye.
Aye. Louise? Aye. I vote aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next public hearing this evening is that of Benjamin Floyd, 46 World Trumper Drive, site plan review and special use permit for an accessory dwelling unit.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you guys, but I think that's me, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You're the only one left.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's it. So we drafted up a new plan. I have hard copies here if anyone wants them, anyone wants to look it up. But this is it. And I think this pretty much satisfies everybody's concerns. And we kind of took it one step further with, making that archway, making it a little bit larger. We moved where the kitchen would end up being inside, like what this office space now will have like a little kitchenette in it. But now that's all kind of common area. And, the upstairs will be the only place with the door, and then that could essentially be labeled bedroom. So this is what we think works for everybody, we hope works for everybody, and the client essentially likes.
Jim?
Nothing for me. That was sort of the last time.
Comments? Tom, you were the one that raised this issue.
No, he is.
Satisfy you?
Yeah, they have it all there.
All right. again, have an open public hearing. I'm looking out there.
Everybody loves it.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We have an approval resolution.
Just wasn't going to update the date on, I will take you to that in September on here. Actually, never mind, I will add the floor plan, so I'll go through this.
Approve a resolution for the board's consideration for the application by Ben Floyd for site plan review under Town Code Chapter 125 to convert an accessory structure to an accessory dwelling unit at 46 Old Temper Drive within the RC5 zoning district, reaffirming the actions type 2 under secret for which coordinated environmental quality review is not required, based upon the submitted information, finding that the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. With respect to... With respect to the application of special use permit, finding the work and intended use to be consistent with the general standards for special use permits, and asking the board to grant the special use permit conditioned upon receipt of site plan. With respect to the site plan approval, asking the board to approve the work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125 and the materials submitted with the site plan by Mark Kaminsky dated September 5th, 2025, as well as the site plan, the floor plan we just looked at that I will add. We are authorizing the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above-cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of 3 conditions. In taking this action, the planning board authorizes the planning board secretary to provide the approval resolution to the applicant along with details on the next steps. And again, reminding me that all plan sketches and the materials submitted to the building department will be the same as those submitted to the planning board.
May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those, I'll pull the board. Delise?
Aye.
Barry? Aye. John?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Evan? Aye. Fred?
Aye.
Good luck.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, good luck.
The next public hearing is that of John Hetherington, 224 Salisbury Turnpike, site plan special use permit for solar installation.
I think they're still waiting for the DP.
Still waiting on the JD? Okay. If you had no reason to assume they weren't coming, so we'll move on ahead, and if they show up later, we'll circle back. So then, 34 Mill Road LLC, site plan review, renovation and addition. We received a request from the applicant to continue the public hearing to the next meeting. They have not, they've not worked through all the questions that they were looking at and possible changes. I believe, Kim, this is moving its way through the ZBA, but the ZBA is also aware that they're not here tonight. And did the ZBA?
So the ZBA will be meeting on Wednesday. I'll let the ZBA know that they haven't, they weren't here tonight, but I have prepared a resolution. The ZBA has deliberated to grant the area variances that were requested. So assuming that any changes don't adjust the variances, which of course we always say, if they do, then I'll have to come back. But
right. Well, we discussed it because one of the suggestions, I think it might have been Ed that made it, was to flip the carport from the east side to the west side. And that was brought up at the last meeting. If they came back with that, they would have to then go back to the ZBA, right? If it changed the
yeah, I think that would change enough that they probably would have to have a setback on the other side.
Okay, so then could I have a motion to continue to
December 15th?
December 15th?
So moved.
So, second.
The motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. The last public hearing for this evening is
But it's
that
a second one. Oh, no, sorry.
We still gotta go back to that.
Hetherington if they show up. But we'll move along for now. So the next one we're going to discuss is Darren Prince, Kelly Swiss, Ackert Hook Road, site plan review for the construction of a single-family dwelling, covered terrace and ground create fence.
Hi.
Good evening.
I mean, I have nothing new to present.
Okay.
And so just, so at the last meeting, We did ask the applicants to provide the correspondence to DEC regarding the DEC's notice of incomplete application, and they did. I believe that was all circulated to you as well. So just where the board left off, obviously the main question was the location of the driveway. I think that the question for the board to really be considering is whether to reconsider that map note. As you know, the map note on the filed map says that the driveway for Lot 2, which is the subject property, has to be off of the common access, which is Barrett Tyler Road, Barrett Tyler Drive. The planning board has discussed some of the concerns with the site distance, and as we mentioned at, I think it was like October, perhaps. Regarding the map notes, they should be enforced unless there's a material change of circumstances or new evidence, and then the board can reconsider that map note. So we've provided our insight previously regarding if there's been any material changes. The applicant has provided their comments, and really the latest information was the comment letter that we received from DEC, which had indicated that they reviewed both the 2025 and the 2004 plans, one of which, the 2025, had the driveway off of Acker Hook Road. 2004 had it off of Barrett Tyler Drive. So I think, there's been a lot of discussion, there's been a lot of information. I believe the planning board has had a chance to kind of consider this question, and since there's really no new information, no new comments, perhaps the board can consider if they think that there has been a material change, that they'll be reconsidering the map note, or if they don't believe there's a material change and will be enforcing the map note. Jim?
Nothing on my end until, get past this driveway discussion.
Okay. Planning board members, you all had a chance to receive and review Kim's memo.
Yes.
So I would open it up now for discussion. Specifically, this is about the map note and our position on that.
I, for one, still can't see a reason why the drive can't be constructed off of Barrett Tyler. It seems like that possibility was not adequately explored. Also, the wetland issue with the DEC wetland that's across Acker Hook Road, and the drive would be constructed within the 100-foot buffer, would also, in order to get the site distance, require some development, some removal and excavation on the property farther along Acker Hook Road, but still actually even closer to the DEC wetland. So I don't think that that was taken into consideration. And I'm also confused about why this vernal pool, which I recognize the importance of vernal pools, why that is being considered to be more ecologically important than the DEC protected wetland. And also, I'm a little confused as to why DEC has preference in issuing a wetlands permit to a wetland that they protect in favor of something that they themselves claim that they have no jurisdiction or they have no regulation authority over. And also, I recall the body in question having been characterized as being the result of the sump pump discharge from the neighboring property. So all those things together, I don't think that this is a suitable site plan.
And regarding the map note?
Regarding the map note, I don't think that there's a material change that would give us the authority to override that map note.
I think that the planning board originally gave a lot of consideration and thought about what should happen on this parcel, including one of our major concerns, which is the site distance on the road for what is the requested driveway. And I don't really think that there have been any material changes in circumstances. The lot size and configuration is exactly the way it was previously when the planning board looked at it. Barrett Tyler Drive is unchanged. The wetlands are actually shown on the 2004 map that the original review was done on. So, you know, taken all together, I really don't see a material change, and I think their concerns are our concerns.
I don't see material change, and I don't think they worked towards this, you know, the original plan. They've just been focusing on the one without, as this stated, giving us how much excavation is going to have to be taken into consideration.
I don't really have any further comment than anyone else. I think the biggest concern I have is to the left of that driveway would need to be significantly excavated. To have line of sight, it would. The hill's got to be at least 15 feet higher than where the driveway's coming out. It's all rock. It would take significant excavation. So,
And the map note?
I agree with everybody else. There's been no material change. I said my voice is due to aging.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that. They said I should pump more. But just I digress. We discussed this for so long, and it's felt that Barrett Tyler Drive was where the driveway should be. It says shall, and that's where it should be, the driveway off of Agricultural Road. Every time I drive by it, I look at it, and it's just a poor selection.
Please.
I'm sure this has been a very frustrating process for everyone, and they're eager to build their house, which I understand. I think regardless of opinions and all of this, which we can discuss over and over again, you know, what runs with the land from a legal perspective is what we can't control. And so I don't have any additional comments because I don't think I have anything I can offer that could change what's in front of us.
And the map note?
And the map note.
I would concur with my colleagues. And I will say that when we looked at this some time ago, and I know that Kim had a number of documents that Gretchen had retrieved from the files that go back to when this original subdivision took place. And in looking back at minutes and notes and comments from consulting engineers and others who were involved in that original decision, it was very clear that the site distances and other things were what at the time were driving the decision, at least it certainly looked like that to me, to put this driveway in and to require the drives to come off that. The road, the Acrid Hook hasn't changed. For the better or the worse, it is the same as it was. And I just don't feel that I'm in a position to vote to overrule a decision made in good faith by a planning board when the subdivision took place originally. So, Kimberly, you want to sum up where that leaves us now in terms of this application?
Sure. So as the planning board has indicated, you don't believe that there's been a material change, so you will be enforcing the map note, which requires that the driveway be off the common access known as Barrett Tyler Drive. I would suggest that the planning board can close the public hearing because there's going to be no more public comment, and since it does not meet the map note, you can, if you'd like, you can direct Grant Lyons, we can draft up a resolution. It would be in denial for that reason, that it does not meet the map note.
Well, certainly I can ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? So what is the, would you now at this time like to ask the Grant Lions to draw up a denial resolution?
Can't we simply read the approval resolution and vote? No?
I think that because this has been, there's been a lot of evidence and history and records, I think for the sake of making it clear, especially, you know, we always think it's important that it's established why the reasoning is, and it's kind of a long history, so I think it would make sense for both the applicant and the board to have it written down.
So in terms of a process of moving forward, what it didn't, I mean, obviously the message is clear, which I find, it floors me based on the fact that we have shown this board over the past year and a half, time and time again, 2 years, engineering studies and data showing you many, many reasons why this driveway makes sense. From preserving stone walls, to the grading, to the access for emergency vehicles. Every single reason that we gave you was based on actual facts and data, and then that was backed up by the DEC. So it really floors me in a situation where this is a single family home that is allowed on this site, and it has taken 2 years to get to a resolution. So, I mean, none of that makes any sense. I know, we know why this project went off the rails. We know that everyone got bent out of shape because the project was trying to move forward, and there were trees that were cut down, and that made everyone angry. I understand that. But the reality of the trees that were cut down was none of those trees were in the driveway location. None of those trees that were over the threshold that your code stipulates were in the driveway location. All the trees that were cut down were in the house location. We've spent 2 years arguing about this driveway, and we've shown you time and time again how it makes sense to put the driveway in this location, and then DEC agrees, and you're gonna say no, you're gonna put it in the other spot. I mean,
I'd also add that our clients have paid thousands of
Do
dollars.
we have to listen to this?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, this is outrageous.
This is outrageous.
You're telling
Did you
us
receive-
how we
Did
feel?
you receive
Zach.
a notice? Did you receive?
Zach.
Did you receive?
I am not responding to you. Please refer to our chair.
Can I please ask one question? Did Edna receive a public hearing notice? Did you and your husband receive a public hearing notice?
I would expect that we did. I'm sure it was a long time ago.
And I'd also ask Elise, did you or did you not interview
This
for
is
the project that we
irrelevant
done?
to the
Don't answer the
discussion.
question, Louise.
I would also just reference, regardless of the elements that we're talking about, right, of the location of the driveway, of what might seem better or not better, we cannot change what is deeded in the land.
That's
And
untrue.
that's what we keep going back to.
However, I do have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
The consultants that did review that our clients paid thousands and thousands of dollars to have review did not do a comparative review. And so to just say that it's going to be a pure denial tonight and not to give us an opportunity,
We gave you the planning board has expressed their concerns about Barrett Tyler. We asked in April when we were waiting for DEC, if you wanted to confirm if you wanted to change the driveway. You said, you never answered actually.
but we were waiting for DEC.
Yes.
You just said that.
Yes,
And-
I did.
and what did
Well,
DEC
we
say?
asked, the planning board wrote a letter saying, can you please confirm if you would like to consider the driveway at Barrett Tyler Drive?
It's a very clear
we
question.
were waiting for DEC in order to answer that question.
Yes,
Because
and we received
that is a
DEC
very
and-
significant, I mean, that is
in terms of this entire process, that carries a lot of weight. And
so does the map note that's recorded.
Well, but to
And that is the
Greg's point,
discussion that we're having tonight about the map note.
So in answer for the procedure, if an app, I believe that when we looked at the site plan review law, if a site plan is denied, I believe it's, you can put in a statement as to what they can do to change it, correct? Is that?
Yeah, it has to be done through a new application.
Yeah, new application.
So where it stands this evening is,
And I just want to make one other note, that
Absolutely.
the DEC doesn't have jurisdiction over the issue that's being decided by this board with regard to the driveway. I just want to make that clear. And they have not been privy to to the information that the board's relied upon with regard to the map notes. We've seen supposedly all the conversation that the applicant has had with the DEC, and none of that material has been provided to the DEC. And it's not their jurisdiction anyway, so I just want the board to be clear about
clear
that.
about that. And may I also say that it's my recollection, and others can correct me, but when we were on site and doing the site visit, there was at the time some thought from people that there were other than two alternatives as to where the location of the driveway could be. So it wasn't an either or in totality. Is that correct, Jim?
I believe so.
Yes. And I think Jim himself has expressed certain ideas to the planning board in the past about what other options were available. So it's been presented most recently as one or two choices, but we haven't seen other options.
So what I would request as an applicant, and I know this has been a painful process of 2 years, let's leave the public hearing open. And your status is now well known, and let us reevaluate and come back to you, given the feedback that you just gave.
Well, we can, we can comment on the public hearing, but I still would at this point, I hear what you're saying, but I still would like to direct Grant Lyons to go ahead and prepare that draft resolution that we discussed so that we're ready at the next meeting. That if we leave the public hearing open, then you can talk, but we're going to go ahead and, is everybody in agreement with that? If you want to come back.
So was the public hearing closed?
Yes, so you're going to have to rescind that. So you're going to have to rescind that motion if you want to.
Okay, I would move to rescind the closure of the public hearing.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
And I also, I have to reserve my right to come to my own conclusion following a careful study of the facts at hand. And I don't see any facts changing, so I would be in favor of coming to a tidy resolution as soon as possible.
So
But I want to give all fairness and deferment
Okay,
to.
but, so Jim generally prepares an approval resolution.
Sure.
So as we have done all along with all the applications, that has been in the works. Now we'd like to see a denial resolution drafted based on the outline that you laid out as to all the facts you would like to have included in it. Is everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Okay. So now we've rescinded the closure of the public hearing. So now we will schedule the next public hearing to continue this. John, is this the right way to handle it?
Yes, it is.
Let me ask a question then, I guess, for the applicant. If you're going to be looking at other options based on the board's decision, is 1 month enough, or do you need it further out?
1 month is plenty.
Okay.
Because we, unlike the consultants that our client had to pay for, have considered both options in totality.
Okay.
And I would urge you to consider other possible options, if there are any. So,
I definitely think the subdivision, the cul-de-sac is still on the table, and
Yeah, so I'm confused about the cul-de-sac. There was no material change, but you guys said you don't want the cul-de-sac. So does that mean the cul-de-sac is still no material change? That's still allowed?
No, I think the map note requires that the driveway to your property be off of Barrett Tyler Drive. It it just has to be off of Barrett Tyler Drive, it doesn't have to be off the cul-de-sac. Excuse me, let me just finish. So regarding the Barrett Tyler Drive, it just has to be off of Barrett Tyler Drive. So no material change means the board is not considering the active code.
Here's the language, Ken.
Lot 1, Lot 2, which is your property, Lot 3, shall use a common access from Acrid Hook Road. The access has been approved by the superintendent of highways. Sorry, can you zoom in?
Yeah, it's like impressed by it.
Oh, I wasn't too for a second.
We promised we're gonna get Kim some glass.
Yeah. Said access shall coincide with the existing right-of-way as briefly conveyed, and this, anyway, this public access is that Barrett Tyler.
Existing right away, so with the cul-de-sac or not?
Barrett Tyler Drive. The cul-de-sac, but it doesn't have to be off the actual cul-de-sac. It could be anywhere on Barrett Tyler Drive.
This is a right of way. This is the area that's been designated as to where the shared driveway has to go. The map actually notes which section of this has to be shared driveway. As you know, it stops at the parcel line here. After this, it then becomes whatever you're going to do based on the agreement, I believe, down here. And Johnny can correct me if I'm wrong. But this map specifically shows that these two lines here represent the shared driveway up to that point.
Yeah.
After that,
I'm understanding Mr. Prince's concern from tonight and from other times about not wanting to have the responsibility to have to build out the cul-de-sac.
Right.
And I don't think it's the lot 2 owner's responsibility to do that.
I just
We're only-
also want to make sure I have.
Understood. It's
Easy
a-
access to fire and safety, right?
Understood. It's a legitimate concern, but I think that the obligation, as the board should see it, is only for them to connect to that.
we discussed this previously, that we did not believe that the road had to be built out to the width that's shown here, or the cul-de-sac had to be there. It just had to be in that area that was shown on the plans. There's nothing stating it has to be built exactly as shown there. It was done that way for the purposes of showing the maximum build-out area, I believe. So it has to, this is the shared part, and it has to connect. This is the edge of your
Well,
property.
it was done that way because this property right here is landlocked, and that was the only way that they could actually get that subdivided.
And from this point back, if they were to develop and wanted access, they would have to figure out how to get to the part that's shared. Again, I'm not going to get into the details, it's a legal discussion, but this is, the area has to go, and we did discuss several months ago that we did not believe this had to be built out as shown. You just had to connect through Barrett Tyler, and then access the way it's shown there.
Have we covered everything we need to cover tonight? I've lost track of, so we rescinded the closure of the public hearing, that's now effective again.
I think, yeah, it's left to continuing, and then I want to know if a month was enough.
That's correct, that's where we left it. 1 month?
Yes.
Okay. So I could have a motion then to conduct a public hearing on December 15th. May I have that motion? So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay. That then concludes the business of this evening, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Heatherington, please. Heatherington is, yes, let's go back to Heatherington and continue it until December 15th. May I have that motion? Second. All those in favor? Yes, Jim would like to, before I ask for an adjournment, Jim has something he'd like to share. It's kind of relevant given the previous discussion.
And just the way things have gone. I actually went to a conference a couple of weeks ago where we're talking to an attorney specifically. I went to a conference a couple of weeks ago where an attorney, he does planning discussions. He's very good. Melody actually heard him several weeks ago as well. And he was talking specifically about, the resolutions and how they're put together and things like that. And I think one of the things I realized is that I don't want people to assume they're going to get an approval because I put an approval resolution in there. I do that because we want to have it ready to go. But I've never included a denial resolution. Now, I don't want to type up a denial resolution for every single one of these, but I have had in the computer for a long time a template that's a denial. And I've been thinking about just adding it to the back of my memos so that it's there to show that there is a denial memo included in
what I put out there in my memos. So I'm not gonna draft up something specific to every project, but I would like to have something there just to show that that is a possibility, just to kind of even things out, so it's not looking like there's an
That would be a
assumption.
great idea.
It's just a blank template,
Yeah.
essentially.
And the idea would be is if we wanted to utilize that, we would be able to, in the moment, come up with
Potentially, or if not, we'd have to go to another meeting, but at least it's there to say we will move forward with that, and we can show that, again, in every memo that I'm putting out there is something that's just there showing that there is, a possibility. More
It
than-
indicates to the public that either is a viable scenario. And I not to move backwards here, but I think like you look at the previous file on Will Tremper, and there's clear discussion of this isn't working for us. You could continue to submit as such, but we're telling you very clearly our feedback that we have concerns about this. And then when you listen to the feedback, and that's what's so important about our process, you listen, you adjust, and then we can get to approvals, which happen often. And then you look at what just happened, and it's like we're being as transparent as we can before a vote. But this is not working, right? And so I think it's good. It reinforces that our opinions are not just coming out of blank air. They're coming because this is the directional space that we're in. And so I like having that there.
It's just,
Anything else? Do you have something?
it's just this that I put together, it's just a blank, just kind of saying what it is. So we might be able to put something together quickly, but most likely we wait till another one. But just include this at the end of everything. And again, Jonathan, I can talk to you about whether one tweak, it's just pretty much what we had.
Are you in favor of
most
this?
circumstances.
Yeah, I am in favor of it. Sorry, Anna, I didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
didn't mean to cut you off.
Because I do think that sometimes there has been confusion from the applicants and the public, thinking that that's what's been drafted, even though it's kind of more of a blank template. So I'm in favor to avoid confusion.
I just wanted
Agreed.
to ask, it seems that you would rarely need a...
I've been working with the board since late 2018, and we've done one denial in that time. So, yes, but I think just to show that there is the potential, I think it's just good to include it as a blanket at the end. We don't know which way the board's going to go.
But can you imagine a circumstance where you would recommend we use that instead of the normal approval?
We would only use that if the board came to the conclusion of the denial.
But we typically don't do that until we vote.
Same with an approval, like I'm not going to draft an approval on the fly. I guess that's.
It's not putting it out as a public record that it's a draft approval before the board has started discussing it. Of course, every approval is subject to the board's review and consideration, and these are just kind of saying that it's meet the thing. But I think by including it in the public, it causes confusion that it's
Maybe it's
without
title.
really- Yeah. And I know, Jim, you, in some of the ZBA referral ones recently, you kind of had both yes and no for a few of them. So maybe even something like that, even having, does or does not, even like if it's enough of a circle or something like that.
One of
Just
the
to
things, sorry to interrupt, one of the things that I found instructive is Jim includes chapter and verse of the town code and says that we find the project to be inconsistent with this or that provision, and we can judge for ourselves whether or not it's consistent. And if an application is going to be denied, it's going to be because of something that's relevant that he's pointed out to us in the process. That's why we have him as our consultant. So maybe it's really as simple as just having a yes/no box next to those provisions that are taken from the town code.
We could modify the approvals, or I would just simply, copy and paste this, and we would go through and just make an explanation as to why it wasn't approved. But we can discuss this further. It's just something I wanted to.
John?
Yeah, I agree with what Jim's proposing to do, because I think it presents a more equal and balanced impression for people reading the memos about what the prospects are. But I would just say that from a practical standpoint, denials are the kinds of decisions that most frequently end up in litigation. And so our advice to our board clients is usually that you be very careful with the denial. It's important for the board to tell its side of the story. It's important to cite to the evidence that the board's relied upon, the fact evidence, in addition to whatever statutory backing the board has for its decision. So I think it's a good thing to do. I think denials on the fly is something I would try to avoid. More care gives us a better chance of telling our story properly and withstanding challenges.
Yeah, I think what we would do would probably be to take those sections that you said, Craig, out, ask for comment on it, that I would kind of put down as a note on, on the fly, and then I draft it, obviously with the denial, work with you guys, and we bring it back in the following meetings. But at least we'd have the discussion of why the board doesn't think it meets those sections.
I think for me, it's less about making a decision on the fly than it is about making the public aware that it's a deliberative process and there are two possible options.
Agreed,
at the end.
agreed.
Not just one, so that they at least are, there's both sides of the coin here. Thank you, Jen, for bringing that to our attention. So I want to thank you all. A lot of heavy stuff tonight, a lot we got through, and a lot of paperwork coming at you over the last couple of weeks for your review. And I appreciate that you paid attention to it, that you read carefully. John and Kim have done a tremendous amount of work on both of these large applications in the last month or so. And I know it's while you're trying to do other jobs in other towns, and I personally just want to express my appreciation for how much effort you put in and how easy you make it to get through difficult situations. So
Well, thank you.
for that, I thank
I would also just like to extend, on behalf of Kim and me, my thanks to each of the board members, the feedback that you're able to give us on the draft resolution. You don't really realize probably how helpful that is to us. It's really important for us to get your perspective, so I'm very grateful that you took time out of your lives to sit down and look at a long document and review a long history, and you made some great comments, and thank you very much. It was really, really helpful.
And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn, as I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
So moved.
Motion, second?
I'll miss you all.